Hello and welcome to the Honest Football Podcast, and we have a midweek special which is the Shit List Review. Okay, so if you followed our episodes 1 to 8, you'll have seen that each episode we have a couple of players going into a Shit List 11, and we're going to sort of do a quick review of that and add a few more bits in.
Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see the 11 on the screen now, and you'll notice there's one particular exclusion, which is Benjani. So let's address the elephant in the room, boys.
Yeah, so episode 1 we talked about Benjani, and I'm still clear to this day that Benjani should be in this list.
It's a travesty.
But you've been overruled by the two of us.
Yeah, I've slightly been overall with the 3 strikers that are on the screen.
You cannot tell, I mean, even aside from the other two, you cannot tell me he is worse than Marcus Bent.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. I'm not going through it again. We had an episode on this, but
it's just because Marcus Bent played for so many clubs and didn't get anywhere.
Anyway,
so,
that's not the point of this episode. The thing is that that justice has been served in the fact that Benjani is not on the
justice has been served that we've found 3 other strikers that are somehow worse.
And if I'm honest, Benny McCarthy probably should have been on in front of Benjani.
No, second top scorer in the league.
No. We're drifting away from.
But now obviously we've got 11 buffoons remaining, and we've got to pick a clown to manage them.
Yeah,
that was a great segue, by the way.
It was.
But I don't bang on about it, do I?
We do love a segue.
So yeah, we do need a manager to organise these into a team that would probably finish bottom, having let in the most goals all season, scoring the least,
and probably won a game.
Yeah, and being the best for comedy value. But anyway, so I don't know who wants to kick off. We sort of maybe come up with our own shortlist, but really we need to pick our best choice for manager, and then maybe debate over who between the 3 of us we think the best one out of those 3 would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'll go first.
Go on in, go.
So I'm going to go for Mr. Ian Dowie.
I can understand that completely, mate,
so,
to be honest.
match, obviously, Crystal Palace took them to the Premier League via playoffs.
Yeah.
Beat West Ham 1-0.
They did, yeah. I remember that game. It was a travesty. Neil Shipley scored.
Yes, he did.
Awful
Are you
game.
going to moan about that now?
No. They won
someone else that should have kicked it the other way.
You could argue the keeper shouldn't have spilt it, but
that's
Jimmy Walker. But anyway,
At least it wasn't Sandor Torgelli who scored.
Where do you get these players from?
I did my research for Ian Dowie. I knew you were bringing him up.
I wasn't bringing him up.
Why Ian Dowie?
So, Palace in the Premier League, 1 season, got them relegated. Took over from Charlton in 2006.
Whoa. The Crystal Palace very narrowly, with a very small budget.
Within a couple of minutes.
I used to think they were quite good to watch though. I mean, when was it Andy Johnson up front and that?
Andy Johnson.
And let's be fair, Southampton went down the same season with roughly the same amount of points. So who's done the better job there?
No, I do think. No, I've got to be honest. When I had Pro Ego as well back in the day, because West Ham were actually in the Championship at the time, as we just discussed, they were beaten by Crystal Palace. I used to be Crystal Palace because I quite liked.
Do you not mean East London Claret?
Oh yeah, exactly. No, let's not go down that road. But yeah, no, I used to quite like Crystal Palace. I used to think they were quite a nice, entertaining team to watch under Dowie. Not necessarily successful, but I used to think they were entertaining.
So after that, took over from Charlton from Alan Kirbishley.
This is where it goes wrong.
Yeah, it does. In 2006, only lasted 15 games, got sacked.
Did Les Reed carry on after that?
Yes, and then Alan Pardew took over from that.
That's right, yeah.
So,
but Ian Dowie got all the money that season to spend out of the 3 managers.
Did he?
Yes, he did. But 26% win ratio at Charlton, and then a couple of years later went over to Newcastle, part of Alan Shearer's coaching staff.
So he went there as an assistant, did he, or like a first team coach?
First team coach, I think it was.
So,
and did they win a game?
No, they didn't win a game.
So did he go when Shearer took over?
Yeah.
Shearer's
that same
8 games? 8 games.
Yeah.
Right.
So obviously got relegated, and then joined Hull under the term of football management consultant. Now, what the fuck is that?
And let's just not forget, he was basically the manager.
He was basically manager.
Who was the inverted commas manager under him?
It's because Phil Brown was still technically employed because he was on gardening leave.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So they couldn't
because
call
the
him
wheels
the
come
football
off for
manager.
him quite quickly, didn't they? Which I thought was a bit of a shame. I quite like Phil Brown.
Yeah, he got the survival. Well, he started well when he got in the Premier League, and then
Yeah.
after that half time at
Man City.
Man City, it just went downhill, but somehow survived.
Yeah.
Thanks to
Was Ian Dowie with him from the beginning, or was it?
No,
No, it was only a few months. About March, I think. He took
Yeah.
over.
So his win, he had 9 games. His win ratio was 11%.
So he won
11%.
He won 1
out of
game.
9 games. So
Interesting
it's
to see
a
that.
pretty shocking record.
Yeah.
But the fact that I watch Premier League years and I keep seeing him there.
I mean, it's outside of the Premier League, but he eventually ended up at Coventry as well, didn't he? And I don't think he had a great time.
He didn't have a great time there as well.
And I don't know if I'm stealing Dan's thunder, but do you know where he is now?
Apart from being on Soccer Saturday?
Yeah, no, genuinely, this is a true story. I only learnt this because I listened to another podcast or whatever.
No, tell me, Charlie.
Ian Dowie is a regional sales representative.
Oh, you linked it.
Oh, I knew it! No, I'll let you do it.
Go on.
No, he's a regional sales representative for an estate agent.
Oh, lovely.
So all of those football qualifications, all of that, it's all out the window now. But I would be a little bit concerned if I was selling my house and then Ian Dowie turned up because he hasn't got the greatest omen for things going well.
So,
I'd
so
thought
hold
think.
it. So
Not got the greatest grasp of the English language.
You got a choice of Ian Dowie or Dion Dublin to review your house.
I'd have Dion Dublin every day.
Yeah, Dion Dublin. Yeah, I mean, as long as he brought his due.
He talks a good game. He talks a good game.
Horrendous,
Yeah.
by the way. That due was
No, due. That's not too
And
bad.
working with Martin Roberts for that long, he's got to catch up with it.
No, but I would say Ian Dowie surprised me because in the sense of he come from non-league, didn't he? I can't remember where he was. Was it Cheshunt or someone like that,
Hendon.
or Chesham or someone.
Hendon, yeah.
Hendon. And then obviously he got his break in.
He did well at Oldham in the football.
Luton.
Yeah, because he was a weapons engineer. I think he's quite an intelligent fella. He's no mug, which is why I don't understand why he was so poor.
And why he plays a buffoon on Soccer Saturday.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
He did score one of the great own goals as well for West Ham against Stockport.
He did, yeah. He also scored no goal against Metz in the Intertoto Cup, which I remember as well.
That was a great competition. We'll have to talk about that one day.
Yeah, but the point being is I don't understand why he's as bad as his record suggests, to be honest, because I suppose what I'm saying is it's not like he's been plucked out of Azerbaijani football. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got a good pedigree of English football. He's played the game at the various different levels.
He just has no idea how to manage it.
Yeah,
unless he's working for Go-To Surveys.
It just baffles me. But anyway, I don't know if I'm so. I didn't mind watching his teams play, and that's one thing that although he was a rubbish manager clearly because of his record, they were still quite entertaining. I thought,
But the percentages don't lie. It's quite low.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. I suppose it's just I don't mind him. I think he's a decent bloke. I think that's the thing. That's where I get a bit caught up.
He's probably a
in.
nice guy.
I know.
And you mentioned his win-loss record. It's not the worst of the
No,
managers we'll probably
No,
discuss
it's
it.
not. Yeah, it's not.
I think the problem with him, where he doesn't help himself, is it happened at various clubs. So, for example, he's not my choice, but you look at Paul Jewell. Obviously, he was manager of Derby in that disastrous season, didn't
Yes.
he?
Towards the end.
However, you have to take into account that he did a fantastic job at Wigan. So, where
and Bradford City as well.
So what I'm saying is you can't judge him on the one season, which is why probably Ian Dowie is the most.
Dowie hasn't had a good Premier League season. Actually.
No.
Although I'd say the Palace season was a fairly good season.
Yeah,
given
to
the
be honest.
circumstances.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, because they got relegated.
Oh,
How can you say it was a good season?
Get
It's a
over
good
it.
season if they survived.
Tell me you're a United fan, can't we?
Who's yours then, Dan?
How does that work?
Well, I've got a couple. I was going to let you go first, just because I've got some notable absentees. So I want to see if you
Right,
bring them
okay,
up
yeah,
first.
no. Right, so my journey, if I'm honest, I started not wanting to pick Ian Dowie. I've sort of headed towards Ian Dowie, but I went the journey via Avram Grant. Now,
Of course you did.
Now-
Mr. West Ham fan.
no, the reason being is that genuinely, because he got relegated 2 years in a row. Now, you can't ignore that fact. However, and this is where I was very ignorant about it. Exactly, yeah. Which on paper, I looked at it, and obviously Avram Grant, you look at it on the bare facts of it, he had 2 relegations in 2 seasons, and that's why initially he was my sort of candidate. Out of all of the clubs he was at, West Ham probably was his poorest. He made some odd sort of decisions.
And we know you hold grudges from
No.
the start.
I'm not too upset.
Let's
So
go
I
back to
think
Lionel Scaloni.
we were dead and buried anyway. What I would say was Portsmouth, he was incredibly unlucky.
Yeah,
they got to an FA Cup final. His hands were tied with awful finances at the time. Left by Harry Redknapp, who, to be honest, if he hadn't had that Champions League run with Spurs, probably would have been actually near my sort of top of my list for this, because every club he's been at, he seems to have ruined pretty much.
Well, I was going to go on with Avram Grant because when I made my notes about Avram Grant, obviously when he got to the Champions League final and League Cup final with Chelsea.
Yes.
But it wasn't his team, really.
No, however you say
it was Jose's team, regardless.
Well, you say that. I got a very good article about Avram Grant, and do you know who his 3 major signings were while he was Chelsea manager? So 3 players he brought in that year.
Yeah, we're talking 08,
07, 08.
So he replaced him in September 2007.
Yeah. So who bought him in January?
No,
Anelka was one, wasn't he?
Yeah, so Nicholas Anelka, who...
We turned out to be a good signing.
Yeah, exactly. He played in the Champions League final for him.
Yeah.
Do you know another one?
And guess what? He missed the fighter penalty.
Yeah, alright, yeah, but he wasn't the worst.
Sorry, I had to make that clear.
Do you know who else he signed?
Was that Khalid Boularus era? No.
Possibly.
No, that was
Another
even
Chelsea,
before.
Branislav Ivanovic. See, people forget
That's
that.
a good sign.
So I thought that was Mourinho.
I didn't rate him at the time.
No, but you can't argue.
can't
that.
argue what he did.
You know, so that's why I'm saying. You know, okay, the next one then was Franco Di Santo. So who's actually playing
Oh,
up front.
hold on a minute.
It would be a nice reunion, wouldn't
So
it?
the point being is that the tough one. I went into this as an ignorant Avram Grant. You know, must have been a rubbish manager.
'Cause he
Took
was at
over
West Ham.
Mourinho's team. Actually, when you analyse it, he probably wasn't the worst bloke out of all of them. I mean, you could argue about his wife. I don't know if you know much about his wife.
Let's
or
not go on the way.
Okay, well, if,
No, go on, mate. It'll be a laugh.
well, okay. If you're interested, he got in trouble.
Let's just say, go and look her up.
Yeah, she drank her own. She drank her own piss on TV. So
urine.
No, don't worry about looking it up.
no, and also he also got in a bit. If you do get a chance, I won't really because it is far too rude. There's a story about him and a Thai brothel and his wife, and it's a cracking read. No, you have to read it honestly. So anyway, I mean, for personal reasons, maybe Avram Grant should be on there. I don't know. So I went via that, and then in the end, if I'm being brutally honest, I was.
Was that not even your main one?
No, he was on there. However,
that's a very long segue, mate.
no, I'm trying to avoid picking Ian Dowie, A, because you've chosen him, B, I do generally like the bloke. So the one I went for in the end, and it's a very short description of him, is Remy Gard, for the simple reason that he had possibly one of the worst records for a Premier League manager at Aston
He's
Villa.
not even in the worst 15.
No.
Really?
No.
Same thing with Avram Grant. I thought he was doomed from the start.
I don't know.
He was taking over a club that had stopped investing, and admittedly, he didn't help himself the way he tried to play and the way he set up. But he was hindered hugely.
I don't know. I mean, I think his man management was terrible. You know, he bombed Jack Grealish for going out and having a drink or whatever. Then I think did he cancel the Christmas party and all this sort of stuff?
Well, so they won about 8 points.
No, but I mean, you play Football Manager. You told me the other day you've got to praise them a lot. You know, so cancelling the Christmas
party.
You
still give him a fine if they go drinking.
No, I just, I'll be honest. Remy Gard, I put him down, but I think deep down I know it'll probably be Ian Dowie if I'm being brutally honest.
Well,
but I just don't want to. I don't want to.
Can I try and prevent it being Ian Dowie?
Go on then. Yeah, I'd be.
Well, I did hear before we started this that you have two names that
I can't separate. Now, it's not the one you think I'm going to go for. So I've got a few notable absentees as I was going through the list, going through the worst records. So we all had a mention at some point of Laurie Sanchez because he brought the whole Northern Ireland team to Fulham. And
but he did a great job at Wycombe, which I know is not Premier League, but you can't. Yeah. Got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup.
I did mention Tony Adams briefly, but then again, he was hindered by the financial off the pitch.
I felt sorry for Tony Adams as well. He was so out of his depth.
He was.
The last one who didn't quite make it for me was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, just by the fact that Vincent Tan,
Cardiff,
same with Vincent Tan, though, just about hindered him. But he was an awful manager on the pitch. And again, I'd only ever managed in the Norwegian league before it. I did mention to you I was going to go for AVB.
Yeah.
Only as a curveball because he'd failed at two big clubs, and I couldn't think of another manager who'd failed at two of the big.
He did have a very good record at Porto, didn't he?
He was unbeaten for us.
But again, I turned out to be a bit ignorant because I looked, and when Tottenham finished fifth, they actually had the highest ever points not to make the top four. So I have to let that one go. And I came down to two that I genuinely can't separate, and they both fall into that sort of short but shit spells. And one of them, not only for their managerial career, but then for their coaching career afterwards. So the first one, and this is a name plucked out of thin air, Pepe Mel from West Bromwich Albion.
Bloody hell.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he won 3 out of 18 games. He came in to revolutionise football at West Brom, play lovely Spanish football. They obviously hadn't done their research because he was one of the few defensive Spanish coaches.
Pepe Mel.
Had been sacked before by Rayo Vallecano for poor form, sacked by Real Betis for poor form, and then got a job at West Brom. Finished 17th, lower place than when he took over in the league, and he's since had sort of poor form. And again, he was at Deportivo most recently and was sacked on the 24th of October last year. Guess why? Due to poor form. I missed. He returned to Real Betis after West Brom and was sacked for poor
How
form.
do lads like him keep getting work though? That's
one more thing, much better. Outside of football, he's also a novelist.
Oh, go on.
3 books.
I like this sort of stuff.
Liar, The Road to the Afterlife, and The Test.
Is he a Christian book writer?
I believe he is, but you can't repeat that. But he did have a good playing career, so that I have to give him.
Yeah, I don't get how lads like him keep getting jobs.
But he wasn't my favourite, I have to say. He was my second, narrowly.
So who's the main...
Do you want to comment on Pepe Mel?
I'm going to comment on Pepe Mel first, because at the end of the day, he kept West Brom safe.
Yeah,
well,
he
put them closer to the danger zone.
I was going to say, I wouldn't say in his defence.
It might have been crap, but he kept them up.
But you could say, like, it'd be like taking over a business and saying, right, we had 5 million, we've now got 4 million, we're still in profit, but you've lost $1 million, haven't you? That's essentially what he did. He had a team that was not in the relegation zone and left them closer to the relegation zone than when he went there.
Well, if we want to talk about someone who's got relegated, I've got another one. So and this is my number one. Just edges Pepe Mel. And it comes from the same season as Crystal Palace and Dowie.
Right, yeah.
But the first half of the season, which is Southampton. A man you probably won't have even remembered was in charge. Steve Wigley.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
Now, Steve Wigley
Yeah.
had a spell the season before, 2 games in charge as a caretaker after Gordon Strachan, I think.
Yeah.
Then they brought in Paul Sturrock, another one who could have been there.
Oh, goodness me, he's awful, isn't he?
And then he went down after that. And
he went
had
to
some
Plymouth, didn't he, I think? In the end?
Yeah, they had some disputes. There were differences between Sturrock and the playing staff. There was a standoff and Wigley intervened and then was randomly given the manager's job despite saying he wasn't interested a few months earlier. And was sacked around the Christmas time. He was sacked after 14 matches and won only 1 game. The reason I don't think he's going to get into the shit list is because that 1 game he did win was against Portsmouth.
Ah.
But he's got a couple of other facts which we've mentioned already in the first series of this podcast. He then went to Manchester City to assist Stuart Pearce in the season where they scored the least home goals of any Premier League team so far.
Which
Your
was
question of the day.
one of my questions for the day.
Which was, and neither of us got it right.
No, that's true.
No.
But he was involved in the coaching staff for that. He then went to the coaching staff for...
Was he in the England national team?
He was with the under-21s.
Yeah. Was it under Boothroyd? Boothroyd, sorry? Or was that somewhere else?
No, it might be McLaren era-ish.
No. Is it for the under 21s?
Oh, no, I'm not sure about that.
Was
I
he
think it was
assistant?
earlier.
Was it? Oh, it might have been under Pearce.
Stuart Pearce, again.
Under
Yeah,
Pearce.
Stuart Pearce. And he then went to Bolton as head coach, replacing Gary Megson. And then after that, Owen Coyle came and they went down.
Well, kept up that season, then they went down.
And then, full circle, it's the perfect ending. He became coach, first team coach, under Hull City's manager, Ian Dowie. What an ending that is, eh?
Well, there's your joint management.
So,
Oh,
if,
dear.
I'm
think-
accepting Steve Wigley's not going to make it, but is that not the perfect manager?
Oh, mate, I mean, if you're going to have a 1 and 2, then it'd be those two.
It'd be those
I
two.
think, clearly, from all three of us at one point or another have mentioned one man. I mean, I'll let you decide, Craig, because it was your original shit list. However, between the three of us, I think we have to
Looking
acknowledge
at
that.
all this research that us three have come up for different managers, it all comes back to Ian fucking
Who
Dowie.
was the first person we mentioned?
Who was the first person?
you mentioned.
Yeah,
to be fair.
that's
I mean, there was one person who I was very reticent to talk about, and I'm only going to mention him very, very quickly, but he won the League Cup with Blackburn, which done him a world of good out of this
Graham
list.
Souness.
Was Graham Souness. Now, I know you can talk about his early... I mean, his time at Newcastle was unbelievably awful.
Yes, it
You know,
was.
and he didn't have a great time at...
Did he not sign Boomslang and Bramble?
He did indeed, and Albert Luque, yeah, you know, as I say,
Michael Owen injured?
yeah,
Signed
exactly,
him,
yeah,
signed
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, look, we're clearly going to go for one man, but as
But
soon as
I just want to give a special shout out to Terry Connor as well.
And John Carver, what were there?
Yeah, because Terry Connor had 13 games and no wins.
you could argue that, I mean, Wolves were in a bad state when he had them, though, you know.
Yeah,
They
well,
made the mistake in stacking McCarthy in
Yeah.
the first place.
No, I think
Yeah, they
to
did.
bring a close down on the
My hero.
the final manager of
So,
the shit list.
I am going to give it to Ian Dowie.
And can he be ably assisted by Steve
And he
Wigley?
can be assisted by Steve Wigley. I completely forgot about Steve Wigley until you mentioned his name. So, yeah, Ian Dowie will be in the home dugout. At which ground, though? Because
So
we've
so
got a
now
few-
we're going to move on then, are we, to where would this shit team managed by Ian Dowie be playing out of? So
Yes.
essentially, where would a team be worthy of playing
That's
in such a shit ground?
Yes.
I like most of the Premier League grounds, but
There's one for me. There's only
Cody,
one.
if you want to go for your one, you can say it first.
My one's the DW Stadium of
Go
Wigan
on.
Athletic in the Premier League. Couple of reasons for it. One, most of the time it wasn't a playable surface due to the fact they had rugby on it. Prioritised rugby, and I think it was the first Premier League ground I remember seeing where you could see the rugby lines over the top.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
And you had the numbers going
Yeah.
along. And
Well,
you
technically-
had 2 touch lines. It caused confusion.
Oh,
Well, Old Trafford had it when they had the Super League.
Oh
final.
yeah, but they just had it for every week. It was there. The pitch was awful. It was covered in sand, which I know will link back to what you're going to mention. And there's no good thing about it. But worst of all, in the Premier League, because they're a rugby league town, they played teams like Man United,
Yeah.
Liverpool at home. You've mentioned it before with Bolton, and they never sold out the ground, or very scarcely sold out the ground. There
Yeah.
were so many empty seats,
I
and it's
can
a
only,
disgrace.
I can only remember 2 times that the DW got sold. It probably got sold out more times, but I can only remember 2. One was their first ever game in the Premier League against Chelsea, when they
Yeah.
lost 1-0 thanks to Crespo's last minute goal. And the second one, when they played Man United, it was last day of the season when Man United won the league.
Yeah, but and then I imagine a lot of those are
Not
Wigan
like United fans.
So yeah, I mean,
The fact they couldn't sell out a general game against them, and Wigan was
Wigan's
worse
not.
than Bolton.
Wigan's not. Wigan's not a big
Hull
place.
was another one. Obviously, they're a massive rugby.
It's
league.
just a combination of all the factors. The fact it was never full, the state of the pitch, which is the
Yeah.
thing we say is most important. We talked about the standard of football pitches. That looked like a Premier League
it
pitch
was-
half the
it
time.
was
It's in the
terrible,
Premier League. What sort of advert was it? And you
Yeah.
haven't seen anything like that since, really.
No,
So-
I think
That's one
But-
option. But there's two options.
Let's give
there,
you
in
your two
case-
options then.
right.
Charlie,
I've got two. One is more of a. I don't know if you remember, it was back in the 90s when they were redoing Highbury. Now, Highbury as a ground was great, but there was a period of Highbury. I don't know if you remember this. They were doing the clock end.
Was it it was just the pictures of the.
Now, I don't remember what they did was, yeah, exactly. Instead of having just
did
like
find
most
funny.
other clubs in the world would do, of just the
Just
logo of the building firm who's doing the work, they got some sort of pictures. This is a brilliant story. They got some pictures of fans. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm pointing in the opposite direction.
As you well, you can't see. It's Charlie's pointing at the wall. of what you can't see. So we might show you. We might actually find you the picture of it. I'll put it on the screen for you, and we know what Charlie's on about.
The point being is that they, rather than they basically got a picture of some fans,
Fake
and
fans.
then fake fans, and put it behind the goal. So that for me was bad enough. What they didn't expect was a load of complaints. Was that the fans were all men and they were all white. So then there was a lot of complaints about
Diversity.
and stuff like that. So then what they did, and this is the best bit, rather than taking it down, they just sort of repainted some of the people and added some. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me, Highbury was a brilliant ground, and I went there a couple of times. It was a great
Yeah, I
place.
It's a
went
lovely
there.
ground.
Yeah, it's a
probably
nice ground,
expect.
yeah.
However, at that period during the Premier League, I mean, there were some big questions to be asked there about that.
So it's more an off the pitch issue, that one.
Yeah, no, I think.
So Highbury's the old Highbury.
So it's just Craig Savage. What are you going for?
Well, I was thinking, like I said, like I do love the Dell. It was so small and compact. I just.
Do you remember someone scored? It hit the advertising in the goal. Do you remember? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Southampton were playing someone, and someone hit the ball that hard, and the advertising boards were so close to the goal that it hit the back of the net, hit the advertising board, and flew back out. And the referee thought someone had cleared it off the line and didn't give the goal. I can't remember what year. It must have been 1995 or 96.
Yeah,
Like
because
that.
they had the old metal poles behind it.
That's right. Yeah, and it hit it so hard it went ping and come back out. And the referee thought it had been cleared off the line. That was brilliant ground. That was the deal.
Hope no one was wearing headphones for that.
No, exactly. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So I've got a few things. Chelsea's pitch. I'm talking about Chelsea's pitch back in 2003, which was just a sand pit. When they played against Charlton, that's an absolute fucking disgrace. You don't see it in park pitches where the bees are
But
taking
we can have
advantage
that
of it.
every week. Not the bees.
The bees.
Helping holiday. It's like.
Another shout. Ooh.
I mean, as a West Ham fan, I've got to say the new Olympic Stadium is
The
the
London
worst
Stadium-
ground I've ever been
It's
to.
not the worst ground. It's the worst football.
Yeah, worst football ground I've ever been
The
to.
stadium is fantastic.
You
for
are
athletes.
literally half a mile away from the pitch, no matter where you're sat. And we have had an awful record there. So
And you still do.
yeah.
I'm quite agree with most of your options, to be honest. I can't think of another
The
ground.
shame is, Highbury as itself is actually a really nice.
It's a lovely ground, Highbury.
So out of the two that we've come up with so far, and sorry, three including the Dell, I mean, Wigan is clearly the worst one. It doesn't even look like a football ground. That stupid sort of.
But it's a rugby stadium, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's just
it's
a
a
one
rugby
stand,
stadium.
isn't it? It's not
Yeah.
like it's separated or anything like
It's
that.
a rugby ground.
You know, so
I'll tell you what the worst ground is at the moment. I'm not gonna lie. It's a new Tottenham one. It's not opened yet.
Well, they've got a cheese bar in that. I mean, we'll do it.
So if we come back to this next summer and it's still not there, it
Yeah,
might be the Spurs.
It will be.
Yeah.
They're invisible
It
stuff.
does look beautiful, I have to admit.
Could
No,
have said Wembley.
Yeah, I was going to say Wembley, and I thought you two would like
Nah,
badger me for it. I love Wembley as it's your cup final game,
Yeah.
playoff game. I don't want Tottenham playing there.
Yeah.
End of.
No.
But unfortunately, we can have been in the Premier League.
Well, it's a Premier. It's a Premier League game, technically at the moment.
Yeah.
So
No, it's up to you. But I personally think the DW.
I think
Between
I
that
like
and Hull Stadium, there's very little difference because they don't fill either of them. To be
I
honest,
just
Hull's-
remember the Wigan one being in worse condition. That's all I remember it for.
yeah, I'd probably go for that.
Highfield Road wasn't the greatest.
Highfield Road. Hey, the Rico's a quality ground. I've got to say, I love the Rico.
That's not really the point, mate.
no, I'm just saying. Nah, Highfield. I mean,
I've been to Highfield Road.
No, I'll tell you, there'd be nothing better than on a cold Tuesday night watching Steve Grizovic at Highfield Road. I'm sorry, I'm not
That's
having
true.
that.
I
No,
like Steve.
No, it's got to be the
I like
DW.
Steve.
Has to be the DW.
Yeah, Steve, DW Stadium on a boggy, cold night in November.
Yeah.
So there you go. So we've got the team, we've got the manager, we've got the ground. Thank you for listening to our rambling of the shit list. We are not doing another shit list.
No, Series 2 there'll be a whole...
We'll do one in a decade's time.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
If the show's still going.
But no, Series 2 there's a new
format.
New features and stuff like that.
And we'll be focusing on the football season now. We're 6 or 7 games in. It's time to look at the tables.
We'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Let us know your thoughts on the topics and the players in the shit list in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe.